I feel like I literally cannot catch my breath. My heart's beating so fast. I have to tell Alex, like, I just need to tell him I cannot be myself today. And me and Crystal Cobb are synced to the T. I'm telling you guys, we always start the exact same day. Tell me something crazy.
Like what? What?
What is like the craziest thing you can think right now?
Bro, you're being weird. What's going on? You're scaring me.
What if I told you I'm pregnant?
No. No. Are you serious?
And I have the IUD inside of me right now.
There's no way.
Wait, no, hold on. Let me tell you all the facts. Bro. Well, I got pregnant on the IUD. I feel like I have so much to share and tell you guys, and I just want for this to feel like a FaceTime, sit down, updating you guys on what the heck happened. So let me backtrack my thoughts a little bit. If you know, and if you're my girl that has been here for a while, you know my daughter Kaeli. She is a birth control baby. So I was on this shot when I got pregnant with Kaeli, the monthly shot. And at the time, side story that I've mentioned to you guys, I was on antibiotics. So they say sometimes I can cancel it. Who knows? But I got pregnant with Kaeli on birth control. So she was 100% not expected. Now I always tell you guys it's truly the best thing ever to see them so close in age. But she was not planned, like whatsoever. So me finding out with her that I was pregnant was completely a shock. I was just like, oh my God, Gael had barely turned 2. And it was definitely now, something that I'm so grateful for. But at the time, I'm not gonna lie, getting pregnant when you're on birth control and you're not planning for a baby is definitely a little bit nerve-wracking, scary. It's just something that you're not planning for or expecting. So when I had Kaeli, I knew I wanted to do a birth control that I guess was more effective. So I went with the IUD. I was on Skylove for the 3 years, and IUDs are 99.9% effective. So the chances of me getting pregnant on the IUD are actually less than 1%. So because Kaeli was a birth control baby, I low-key had a little bit of just I was low-key paranoid still every month, and I would tell sometimes Alex or my best friend Crystal, like, oh my God, I think I'm pregnant or this or that, and they were both like, Les, you literally have the IUD. I think you're just a little bit traumatized at the fact that Kaeli was a birth control baby. So I got my IUD when Kaeli was born, 6 weeks after, which is when I was able to get it. So basically, as soon as I had her, I got on the IUD, and they did a sonogram to make sure the IUD was where it was supposed to. And then it's optional to go back in 3 weeks to a month to make sure, it implanted well and it's where it's supposed to be. So I did that sonogram because I wanted to be extra sure. And then it's completely optional, and it's really rare, whoever says yes to this, according to my doctor, to get a sonogram every year just to make sure it has not moved. So a year after, I went in for another sonogram just to make sure it had not moved, and my IUD was where it was supposed to. After that, fun fact, my OBGYN at the time retired, so that was that. My birth control was not supposed to expire till this year in September, so in another year and a half, if you're following along. So I was already kind of starting to look around for any OBGYN. That way when the time came, I could either renew it, take it out, or whatever step I was going to decide for. So fast forward to me finding out I'm pregnant. Me and Crystal, my best friend, are super on sync on our periods, or were. Like, I'm telling you, when she would get it, I would get it, like super on sync. And every month, like I said, when I would tell her like, oh my God, I think I might be pregnant, she would be like, girl, you're crazy. Well, this time she started her period, and my period was only 1 day late. Not even a day late. Like, she started that day and I hadn't started, so I guess half a day late. I texted her, I haven't started my period. And she normally tells me like, girl, chill. But this time it was crazy because I was like, should I take a test? And she told me yes. So we were actually out of town, and I DoorDashed the test. I think because Crystal told me yes, I instantly got like so anxious, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's never told me yes, I think I am. And I don't know who has gotten pregnant on birth control watching this, but just that feeling when you take a test, and it was just this like rush, the same one that I got testing with Kaeli, like, oh my God, could I be pregnant? I take the test and I see that it's positive. I'm literally pulling up my pants. Alice is in the shower. I look down like this and the test is positive. I've had some really strong positive tests before, like with Gael and with Gaeli even. And this one was not as strong, but girl, it was positive. And when I tell you guys, what I felt was such a copy paste what I felt with Kaeli, but more at peace. And I think that was because I had already felt that before, and I almost kind of told myself like I knew it, like I knew it was gonna happen again, but I almost couldn't comprehend how I was pregnant. Like I have an IUD and Alex is right there, and I remember with Kaeli I freaked out and I ran out the room yelling. And this time I stayed more controlled and I was like, oh hey no, like I have to make it special, I have to tell him in the right way. So I just put the test away and I could not feel my knees, guys. I was just like, what's going on? Like my test is positive, but I have the IUD and I'm literally Googling like, wait, how effective are IUDs? Because the doctor told me like over 99%, and yeah, it's almost nearly impossible. But I mean, there is that 0.01% that they tell you about, and you're looking at her right now. So as soon as he went to bed, he changed, got in bed, I went to the restroom again. I took like 2 more tests and I just kept looking at them because they were all positive, girl. Like I literally got the box and I was like, is it expired? It was not expired and they were all positive. So I was just like, I am pregnant. Like I'm so pregnant. And with Kaeli as well, if you guys remember, I shared this with you guys as well. My best friend was actually at the house when I found out, and I ran out and I basically told her and Alex like that. So it was like not really special besides me just going crazy. So this time I was like, no, like I really just want to have, you know, tell Alex right and tell my best friend right. So I really tried to control my feelings, my emotions, and I was just like, holy smokes, we're about to have a third baby. So when I saw those positive tests, all that's going through my head is, how am I going to tell Alex? Where's this baby gonna sleep? Like I'm already planning ahead, like where's the car seat gonna go? Like that is where my mind went. Just honestly, I can't even explain the feeling, but I'm just like, I'm pregnant. Like I am so pregnant. I have the IUD. Like I really could not comprehend that, because who gets pregnant on the IUD? I'm dying to tell Alex. I need to tell him, but I really wanted to just not yell it out and scare him. Like, you know, I really just wanted, I don't know, to tell him. I'm like, I am going a little bit cuckoo. We had to be up the next day really early that day because I had a shoot. So I'm trying to think like, should I take him a cake during the shoot? Should I take him balloons during the shoot? Like, guys, my brain, I really cannot even put into words how crazy it was going as far as like what is happening. So I waited, and so I couldn't even tell Crystal about it. I was like, I really want to tell her in person when we get back home. And I just have so many mixed emotions. So I tried to go to sleep, but I literally could not go to sleep. I was just tossing and tossing and tossing. Alex woke up that day at 4:30 in the morning. That way he could get his run in before we headed out for the shoot. So as soon as he left the room, it was like 4:45. I got up because I could not sleep, and I was like, I have to tell him like right now. Like, what am I thinking? Balloons and cake? Like, girl, just tell him. Like, it's already the third baby. So he goes to run, comes back. I set up the camera, and I mean, obviously he knows we're not trying and I'm on the IUD. So I think me being pregnant is something that did not even cross his mind. And even when I would have like my pregnancy scares here or there, he's just like, babe, what the heck? Like, how? You have the IUD? I thought it was over 99% effective or whatever. I set up the camera and I'm like, I just have to tell him, and I have to tell Crystal. And then after that, we could tell his parents, and then my parents, my sister, his siblings, mine. Like, this is where my brain is. I'm not gonna lie, a big part of me is also just like, I was not ready for this. I don't want to say I was sad because I feel like that just sounds so mean, and I wasn't necessarily sad, but I feel like your feelings are pretty valid when you know, get pregnant and it's not something that you're planning for or expecting, and you were doing what you could to prevent it or whatever. So he comes in 6 in the morning here, and I tell him,
What? You're being weird. What's going on? You're scaring me.
tell me something, the craziest thing you can think about.
I can't think of anything.
What if I told you I'm pregnant?
No. No. Are you serious?
And I have the IUD inside of me right now.
Wait, so you're pregnant? Are you really? There's no way.
Wait, no, hold on, let me tell you all the facts.
Oh my god, I can't believe this. We're gonna have a third kid. How are you pregnant?
Babe, I have
you have an IUD?
the chances of me getting pregnant on the IUD are less than 1%. He was just like so in shock. And, you know, I'm not sure, I remember exactly what we caught on camera, but he also told me like, well, babe, you know, I'm actually really excited. He's like, I think we both were so like off adrenaline. I mean, mind you, we are married. Gracias a Dios, we're like, you know, financially stable now. We have 2 kids, we have our home. So, I mean, you know, we're established, we're married, and that does not change the fact though that it's a 3rd baby. So he was just like, we need to tell my parents, we need to tell your parents. That's where our feelings started going. And I almost seen him kind of like excited for it. I almost got like this rush of adrenaline, like, oh shit, we're about to do this again, like a 3rd one. And then I'm like, I have to tell Crystal. I talk to Crystal literally from the morning I wake up until I go to sleep. We just talk and text and chat all day. I'm like, there's no way I can hide this from her for like the next 2 to 3 days, because it was actually a 2-day shoot. So I had to FaceTime her, and I never ever FaceTime Crystal. So even though we talk all day every day, it's always through voice message or texting, but never do we ever FaceTime each other. I had to FaceTime her.
Bro. What?
Bro, I'm fucking pregnant.
No, you're not.
Bro, I'm not kidding. Like, I found out yesterday.
You're lying.
I literally have not slept.
Did you tell him?
No, I wasn't even gonna tell you, but I'm like, bro, I have to tell somebody.
I'm shaking.
I was researching everything, like on the, like it's a 0.05% chance.
Bro, what?
And I'm like, no, like they're expired. The box expires 2027. And I was like, no, like it's not. But I'm like, bro, I'm not starting my period.
Oh my
I know, bro. Let's take a break to thank SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. They always have the best deals on tickets, and there's so many tours happening right now. SZA, Post Malone, Kendrick Lamar, and with my code LesToMakeup, you guys get $20 off of your tickets. They have over 70,000 events, so any event you're looking for, whether it's a concert, a football game, festivals, you guys will find it on the SeatGeek. Using the app is also so simple. I just like to open up my app, look up the event I'm trying to attend, and tickets pull right out. They even rate them for us from 1 to 10. A green dot will give you a 10 rating, and a red dot will give you a 1 rating. That way you know it's not the best deal. Not to mention, they have over 28 million downloads and are also rated the #1 ticketing app. So go on SeatGeek and use my code LesToMakeup to get $20 off your tickets at SeatGeek. I will also leave the link down below. So I felt a little relief that I had told Alex, I told Crystal, and at the shoot, my manager was there. We actually told him as well. Jesus glammed me, and I had to make some calls for my first appointment. So I actually told him as well. Mind you, right now, I'm still thinking fully like there's a 3rd baby coming. That's the only thing that's in my head, and I'm just trying to like process those emotions. And then the next day, I started, you know, thinking, researching. I'm like, okay, so what happens now? Like, do they remove it? Does it stay? And that's when I started doing my research, that after hours and hours and hours of looking at articles and going just down it online, when you have an IUD, it is, and you happen to get pregnant, it is really possible for it to be an ectopic pregnancy. I am not a professional. Please do not quote anything exactly what I'm going to say, but basically the egg implant, the baby forms outside of the uterus. And that was only the beginning of my research and me trying to figure out, wait, what was going to happen depending on how far I was. Mind you, I tracked my period like exactly, so I knew I was about to be 5 weeks. If they cannot take out the IUD, you're basically considered a little bit high risk, and they just really need to monitor the IUD with the baby. And at the end, the baby comes out, and then they take out the IUD. Ideally, they would want to pull out the IUD if it's early enough. That way the baby is safe. And I was just down this hole. So my anxiety, guys, honestly, props to me, because I had 2 shoots, and obviously at the shoots, like, I have to bring the energy, I have to be the face, and I love what I do, but it was just pretty tough trying to do that with what's on my head. And that was literally all that was in my head. And shout out to my husband Alex and my bestie Crystal, because this is literally all that was consuming me and all that was talking to them about. So now I'm thinking this might be an ectopic pregnancy. So by the 2nd day also, I started spotting, and with my Gael and Kaeli, never did I spot, but it is common for you to spot or have light bleeding like in the beginning during implantation. And now I feel like I know so much after like all of this. But to me, like reading all of that and spotting was just not giving me obviously any kind of peace of mind. So now my head started shifting from we're having a third baby to like, wait, what is happening? Is my baby gonna be okay? Like that was the first thing in my mind. Like, am I gonna be okay? And Alex is somebody that will kind of worry really quick. So I was like doing my own little looking up and all of this on my own and kind of sharing some stuff with him. But he's like, should we go to the ER? What do we do? And I'm like, no, I'm fine, I'm okay. I took an unhealthy amount of pregnancy test because I was just going through it, honestly, guys. And we're still out there on my shoot. I calmed down, I had some peace of mind because my spotting was nothing like a period. It was just some bleeding. And I went down so many articles and so many other stories and apps from like other moms and stuff. And a lot of them were like, it's completely normal. Like, you know, seeing all of these optimistic stories. And I'm like, I think I'm fine. It's maybe the IUD. This is my theory. I'm like, maybe the IUD is like irritating me and making me spot a little bit. But again, the bleeding was nothing too concerning. Now my mood definitely went from third baby to like, am I okay? What's happening? I need to get back home and just have my first appointment. So at this time too, I don't have an OBGYN. Like I told you guys, my OBGYN, Dr. No, which was amazing. He retired, loved that for him. So I'm like trying to figure out who to call or like what clinic to go to. I got an appointment at a clinic OBGYN, which I now consider my new OBGYN. And I was just counting down the seconds for that appointment and just get some answers because now I'm like, is it an ectopic pregnancy? Why am I bleeding? Like, I don't slightly throw this around, but my anxiety, guys, was just through the roof. My thoughts were literally just everywhere. I don't think I slept just because I was thinking and thinking of all the possible scenarios that could happen. And then so my appointment is that Thursday. Thankfully they were able to see me that week because normally when you're pregnant you don't get your first appointment till like a couple of weeks after. And I called other clinics but they couldn't take me into like 3 weeks out. And I was like, oh my god, no, like I just really want to, you know, get this checked out and make sure like I'm just somebody that needs answers. If not, I will literally go crazy in my head. So Wednesday we come back home and I'm spotting, but now it's like really minimal, nothing much at all. So I'm still thinking like it's pretty normal. I'm pretty sure it's implantation bleeding. And Alex is like somebody that just has to share everything with his parents like ASAP. Like Alex talks to his parents all day. So I was like, you know what, let's go have this first appointment, get some answers, and then we can, you know, I just want to have like more of an answer before we share it with like your parents or my parents. So we go to our appointment Thursday and I get a sonogram. And I actually, even for my own self, I was keeping track of like everything that was happening, when I was bleeding, like what my appointments were for my peace of mind and to
Really? Yeah, the hormonal IUD has to be up here. Yours is down here. This is your cervix.
So at least we can clearly see that it's not where it's supposed to be.
It's not where it needs to be.
My IUD had moved. So she explained to me where the IUD is supposed to be. And my IUD was just completely out. Hence why I got pregnant. There's really no explanation to it besides it happens to less than 1% of women. And I just happened to be that less than 1%. So according to the sonogram, my period, I was 4 weeks, 5 days, and it is just way too early, she said, for her to even see a sac or of course a baby. And I tried to get like is there a baby, is there not, but it's just way too early, which I appreciate her for that, because imagine she tells me yes there's a baby or no there's not a baby and then there is a baby. Like that happens a lot, and I'm just so glad that she said it's too early. Like you just need to give it a couple more days for us to see a sac or a baby. They sent me to do blood work, that way I can get my HCG levels. And then 2 days after, I went in again for blood work, and then that would let her know if my levels were going up, which means my pregnancy is progressing, or if my levels were going down. But the main thing here was that I'm only 4 weeks, 5 days, and nearly nobody gets sonograms this early for that same reason, that there's really nothing for them to see. She said, I explained to her how I had spotted, but it was nothing like a period. It was just like light spotting. And I was concerned because with my other 2 kids, I never spotted. She said that could be implantation bleeding. Also, some women do have light spotting in the beginning of their pregnancy, which is kind of the answer that I had came up with as well. And other than that, she said everything is looking, there's not much, but what we're looking at looks like a early stage pregnancy. and your IUD is on the side. So she went ahead and removed my IUD. In case of anything, my IUD was either way nor where it was supposed to be. So I was really glad that she was able to like get the strings and pull it out. That way it would not like, you know, interfere or harm the pregnancy. We got our little sonogram pictures. We left. So this is Thursday, and now we had to wait for my next appointment, which was Tuesday, to check if my levels went up. We would do another sonogram and see how everything's looking. I forgot to mention I did throw up ice before this, and that is like a big sign for me when I'm pregnant. Like I get nauseous. So I'm just thinking like, okay, it's implantation, bleeding, like we're pregnant. You know, the IUD was completely off. It completely migrated. So of course I got pregnant, and I'm back to, we get home and Alex is like, can we share with my parents now? So I was like, you know what, yes, we can tell them now. I feel more at peace now that we saw the sonogram. His parents came over.
No!
We told them that we were pregnant. They were really excited. They have been telling us like about having a third one and a fourth one. And for them, they want all the grandkids in the world. And my suegra was geeked. Alondra was here, his sister. So we told her as well. Later that afternoon, my mom came over.
Liz!
We also told her. She was shocked. She knows que me estaba cuidando with el aparato, she calls it. So she was shocked. And that weekend, we're gonna host our close friends, my family. So I was like, I'll tell my siblings and my dad that day. So now his parents know, my best friend and my mom and everybody else. I was like, maybe I can do like a cute little cake and have them cut it, and you know, kind of just like I said, tell them all at once. So this was Thursday, Friday. Saturday comes and I start spotting more in the morning. So I started spotting and my heart kind of sunk. I said, maybe I'm just spotting a little more again. As the day went by, I started spotting more and more. And I remember it was a Saturday because everybody was coming over the next day, Sunday, which is when I was going to tell everybody. And as I started bleeding more and more and more, and as the day progressed, the bleeding wasn't getting lighter, it was getting heavier, and it started feeling like a period. At some point I remember being in the restroom and I'm like, this is not normal. Like with all the other spottings that I was having, I was like, oh, this could be normal, it could be implantation. Like even though I was like, oh, I've never had this before, it was still like an okay phase for me. But this day and this bleeding, I was like, this is not normal. And my heart just sunk. For the past 5 days, I was pregnant. For the past 5 days, I thought we were having a third baby. And I'm literally planning where the third car seat is gonna go. I'm literally planning what crib I'm going to use, how we're going to tell my family the next day. And when I saw this, I'm like, my anxiety and my thoughts and my brain, guys, I did more research than I've ever done my whole years of college. I just wanted an answer there and then. I was like, please, just somebody tell me like yes or no, like is it okay or is it not okay? And towards the night was when it was the heaviest, like full on period. And I just told myself like, this is not a pregnancy. So I actually texted my sister. Why am I getting a little emotional with him? So I actually texted my sister and my brother in the chat, and I gave them the news through text because I just felt it in my heart that it was just not normal. And I had just lost it. And I texted them. I basically told them everything that I'm kind of telling you guys now through text. And I was like, I was really gonna like give you guys the news tomorrow, but it's looking like this now. And my sister is just like, what the heck? And my emotions were just crazy. That night, well, that whole day, it starting since Friday actually, I was bleeding more, and then Saturday was just a lot, guys. Like I'm telling you, full on, I was on my period basically. So I ordered an unhealthy amount of pregnancy tests that day, and I started reading that when your HCG levels go down, your pregnancy test line starts getting lighter instead of darker. Mind you, right now, I'm like, what, 5 weeks, 1 day, 5 weeks and a half, maybe, because it's all happening within the week. So my line should be like Sharpie dark. I took the first test and it was so faint, and it was almost like my reassurance, my confirmation that I had lost it. And the feelings are so mixed. Like I'm almost like getting emotional saying this. I can't explain it. Like it's just a strange feeling. I took test after test after test. I was not telling Alex because he would have been like, you're losing your mind, you need to come to bed. I was texting Crystal and just kind of letting her know. Shout out to Crystal, my best friend, because oh my god, she was just hearing me out, being repetitive over and over. And it was a weird feeling of, I'm not pregnant now, but yesterday I was, and now I'm not gonna tell my family. But earlier I was planning how to tell them, but I didn't plan this, and I did not want this, but I was actually really excited for this, and I was planning my life with this third little baby that I didn't even know yet. The next day, Sunday, I'm still bleeding, basically like a second day period bleeding. I'm wearing a pad, everything, and I am just so 98% sure that I had lost it. I ordered another amount of pregnancy tests, and I took them, and the light was only getting lighter and lighter. One of them at some point almost, I couldn't even see the positive line anymore. It was almost so negative. So like in those 2-3 days, like I'm guessing my HCG levels just dropped so much. And we still hosted my family. I was so out of it. We didn't tell anybody besides just my parents and our siblings about what was going on and what it was looking like. We told his parents as well, like, hey, like Bless is just bleeding a lot, it's not looking like that. And now that I'm looking back, I'm like, I think I was kind of losing my mind here a little bit. And I don't know if this sounds dramatic, but no, I feel like if you've taken tests or you kind of understand the feeling, like if you've gotten pregnant before on birth control and it happened again, and you do a sonogram and everything looks fine, but then you start bleeding, and it was just like, what is going on? So my appointment was Tuesday. We go in Tuesday. Doctor walks in and she says my HCG levels are basically they're supposed to be in the 10,000s. Again, do not quote me on these numbers, but in the thousands, and mine were at 56. So there was no longer a pregnancy. And she did a sonogram, everything. There was no sac. There was no baby, obviously. And my levels were basically all the way down now. She made me do another blood test 2 more times just to make sure everything went completely down to 0. And it was basically considered like a miscarriage, a really early miscarriage, which can also be called a chemical pregnancy. And I left, and I was talking to like my close friends we shared this with, and my parents, like, how do you feel? And I'm like, I really can't like, a part of me feels sad. My heart is with anybody who's like, gone through like a miscarriage longer down, or anybody who's tried to have a baby. And I even feel like I almost felt even guilty to be a little bit sad that I was pregnant when I wasn't trying to be, because I know there's so many women out there that just want this more than anything and try for this more than anything. So I still felt some guilt in that, but I know my feelings are still valid. And it's just such a heavy topic for women, I feel like, whether you're trying to conceive or not trying to conceive, and conceive or don't conceive, like just anything. Motherhood is just such a broad, heavy topic. And oh my god, well, with that being said, we left from the appointment, and that was it. I did not have to go back at all. They would just call me to make sure my levels went down to 0, and that was the end of that. And that whole week was such an out-of-body experience. I'm just trying to like explain what I was feeling at the time, and now it's like, now what? I feel like it's what you guys are gonna ask me, because I know that's what like my sister and Crystal and my family asked me. And if there's one thing that this left me like really certain about, is that we do want a third baby. Oh, I'm getting emotional. Okay, pause. Water sip. That last appointment where we just confirmed that it was a chemical pregnancy, like a really early miscarriage. The doctor, you know, she's so sweet. Now my new OBGYN, she said, you know, take your time, process this. You can either get the IUD again, not get it again. Like, we're here for whatever you want to do. And I just felt so emotionally drained, and like I needed to just really process that whole week. And I just felt so in a way, and everything that had happened. And like, you're telling me last week I was pregnant and this week I'm not, and I'd never experienced or had that, and it was just a lot. And your guys' question now is gonna be, well, what now? I feel like if there's one thing that this left me, and I think Alex Sheridan as well, is we definitely want a third baby now. We were so 50-50 about this, and this experience overall was just that clarification that I needed, that we for sure want a third baby. Like, I want a third baby, but just not yet. So I do plan to take care of myself at least for another year. My own timeline, I am 31 now. Oh my god, I keep thinking I'm 30, but I'm 31 now, and I always told myself I did not want to have kids past 32 or 33 the latest. Again, there's no time for anybody, but personally, this is just my own timeline that I had, is I just don't want to have kids past that age. And also because considering my current kids' ages, so I feel like within the next 2 years or year I would decide. Just right now was not something that we wanted, but I am just certain that we do want a third baby. The sonogram and just everything that comes with the pregnancy is something that I definitely want to experience at least one more time when are ready, or when the time comes. But that is a story time. And huge disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. I am not trying or giving anybody advice. This is solely my experience, my story that I want to share with you guys. Also, I don't mean for this to scare anybody off that has the IUD. I am so sorry. I just really wanted to share this story time with you guys, but I do not mean to freak you out or scare you if you have the IUD. Please, girlfriend, just take this as a FaceTime call, as me just telling you my crazy story time. And most of my friends, cousins, are on the IUD and have been for years and years, but there is that less than 1%, and you are looking at it. It has been a couple of weeks now. I have definitely fully processed everything that happened, and I did not want to sit down here and kind of tell you guys this story time until I was done processing and feeling what I had to feel. And now, you know, I felt comfortable sitting here and just sharing this with you guys. But yeah, that was a really raw little story time update, mainly for the girls that I share absolutely everything about my life with. That concludes this story time, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.